And in just 17 days, Eric Adams will be sworn in as the 110th mayor of New York City.
Yeah, Adams will become the second black man elected mayor in the city's history, and he's looking to make even more history while he's in office with some of his appointments. Mayor-elect Eric Adams joining us now live to talk more. Good morning to you, Mayor-elect. Good to see you.
How are you? Good seeing both of you this morning.
So there's obviously a lot to talk about, sir, regarding COVID-19. So let's start there. New temporary measures announced by Governor Kathy Hochul. We just talked about them for indoor masking, regardless of vaccination status, in places where proof of vaccination isn't required. Do you support this, Mr. Adams, and how do you see it being enforced when you take over?
I do. I support what the governor is doing. It is a non-invasive way of just telling New Yorkers that this is a serious moment. And these spikes are coming and going, new variants, and from time to time we have to adjust. And in the beginning, all of us really pushed back because we were unsure of COVID. But I think New Yorkers realize that we don't want to shut down our city, and we're going to use soft touches. Make sure credible messengers assist us, local community leaders, etc., and just really have people do the right thing. And you know what? The overwhelming number of New Yorkers are going to do so.
But on enforcement, because that seems to be an issue with so many of these mandates, who actually goes about in enforcing the rules?
Well, it's a combination. Number one, we're not going to be dragging people off to jail because they're not wearing a mask. That is not going to happen. Number one, those who are at these establishments will instruct people that you have to put a mask on to come inside. And that's what we have been doing so often, and it has been successful. Now, those outliners who are going to give people a difficult time, then you will call law enforcement to come and have a real conversation with them, but you will not see people being treated in a harsh way, heavy-handed policing to get this issue addressed.
Now, we are expecting updates on Mayor de Blasio's new vaccine mandate for the private sector, which goes into effect December 27th. That's just days before you take office. So did you speak with Mayor de Blasio about this mandate? Do you support it?
Yes, I did. He communicated with me prior to doing so, and we have been communicating throughout the time. And yesterday I spoke with around 90-something business leaders, corporation leaders, and small businesses to get their feedback on this at the same time. Many of them were concerned about how fast they were giving this information, and I'm going to evaluate it on January 1st. It's about the science. If my Department of Health and Mental Hygiene and Department of Health on the state level and the CDC say, Eric, this is something we need to do, we're going to do that. It's always about following the science, and that's what I'm going to do.
So is there a possibility you could roll some of these measures back?
It's about the science, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever the science tells me.
And you met with those corporate leaders yesterday to form that new corporate council, and I think that's a big part of the equation here, sir, right? Because some of them are saying, well, how do we actually go about and enforce that? Enforcement, again, we're waiting on the details from Mayor de Blasio, but enforcement, again, a big issue here for the private sector.
Right. And, you know, what I learned yesterday is that we have a good problem in New York. There's so much talent that has been sitting on the bench for a long time. And those corporation leaders, they are really just eager to help our city. And that is part of the conversation, the mandates. They want to have a collaboration as they open and get back to business on how do you go about handling these mandates.
So a new COVID vaccine mandate goes into effect today for children ages 5 to 11 years old. So for them to be able to, to enter certain establishments, they have to have a vaccination. So we had your new schools chancellor on yesterday, Mr. Banks. Do you envision a broader vaccine mandate for schools?
Well, first, isn't David great? I think he's an amazing choice. 8 years of finding someone, interviewing them to become the chancellor of our school. I'm going to collaborate with him. He's extremely conscientious when it comes down to parental's rights and making sure we create an environment that's safe for our children. Again, I just have to keep leaning in. We're not going to allow emotion to drive the decisions around protecting our children. It's going to be about the science.
Yeah, and David Banks yesterday, by the way, had a lot of energy on when he was right here on the morning news. So during your announcement of Mr. Banks as chancellor, you also mentioned that he'd be working with a new health commissioner to form healthier lunches within the school system. So does that mean that you're actually going to be looking to replace Dr. Chokshi as commissioner, and how soon?
Well, we're going to be rolling out a series of appointments. I'm still in campaign mode.
You got the job, sir.
It's yours.
We're going to be rolling out a series of appointments the next few days. I think people are going to be really excited by that. And I'm going to sit down with the doctor and David, believe it or not, and my leadership team to look at all of the commissioners and leaders and see how we can, number one, if they're going to stay in the positions that they are in, or if they could be used in other parts of the city administration.
Yeah, well, speaking of leadership changes, let's turn to policing. Have you chosen your next police commissioner? Are you still considering appointing a female and a woman of color?
You are so good. You know that? Yes, I narrowed down my search, and I'm just really excited about the decision. I gave my staff a difficult task. I gave them the description, what I wanted, and I'm just amazed that they were able to actually find what I requested.
When you say narrowed it down, you narrowed it down to one person?
One person, uno.
Uno.
One person.
When will you be making that announcement? Can we know the name right now if you want to make some news this morning?
That's why you're a great host. We're going to be rolling it out in the next day or two. Before the end of the week, New Yorkers are going to know who their next police commissioner is going to be.
How about this?
Is it a woman?
How about this? Is it a woman, and are they local?
There's some great choices for the last three. You had Best. That was, not local. So it wasn't about being local or non-local. It was the best fit to rebuild trust, keep our city safe, and inspire our police officers to know we depend on them and the community to know the police are going to respond correctly.
Yeah, and that brings me to this topic of policing, and we'll respect you on making the announcement later this week, sir. But police reform, obviously one of your top priorities, right? We've talked about this at length. You've already mentioned wanting to bring back beat cops to improve community relations. Now, criminal reform activists say that this move may backfire. We spoke to some of them yesterday. What's your response to that?
Well, something happened that I believe special on June. The people of this city heard my message. I was not secret about it. I was clear. And they determined, the overwhelming number of people who decided to vote, that we want Eric to be our mayor. And so all I can say to the activists, to those who may criticize some of my appointments, give me an opportunity. Just join me. Let's not spend time just saying what we can't do. Join me to see what we can do. This is a great city, and I'm going to make some smart decisions. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to do what New Yorkers do every day. Get up and provide this city the service that it deserves. And I think that people are going to be pleased.
Well, in the past, you've spoken out about possibly hiring a deputy mayor for policing. Do you still plan on doing that? And how will a deputy mayor of policing work with the police commissioner? What's that difference?
Great question. It is not a deputy mayor of policing. It's a deputy mayor of public safety. We have several law enforcement entities in our city. The police is not the only one. And sometimes we miss that. We have hospital police, school safety agents, Department of Correction, probation officers. We have to stop operating in silos and come together and operate as a team. All of those officers, they wear different patches, but it does not mean they should be on different teams. And I want one person to coordinate how do we better utilize them and how do we better cross-communicate. To the school safety agents to better communicate with those in other entities of our city as well.
So the police commissioner would answer to the deputy mayor of public safety?
No, it's not going to be about answering. It's about building a team.
Okay.
He will sit down with them and other law enforcement professionals and determine how do we create a safe city across the board.
As you become mayor, there'll be a virtually new city council. For the first time, a historic number of women in its ranks. All eyes right now on who will become the next city council speaker. How involved, if at all, are you in the speaker's race?
I stated from the beginning that I was not going to be heavy-handed in this race. People call me. They call me all the time, and they say, Eric, what are your thoughts? I give them an analysis of the people who I mentioned in the race to give my input. I'm looking for a partner. The speaker does not work for me. The speaker works for the people of this city and their fellow city council people. But I give my opinion, but it's up to the council people to determine who the next speaker is going to be.
And just real quickly, you're meeting with President Biden today. Could you talk about what you're planning to accomplish in that meeting?
Infrastructure, build back better, getting money here to the city. We're meeting with some of the cabinet members of my knowledge to understand how to get the money on the ground. You know, what I found when I was in D.C. last week, I found that often we passed legislation, but the money rarely gets down to the city level where it is needed. And that's one of the conversations I'm going to have with the White House staffers and administration, that we need to get money down to the cities that are needed. And that's part of the conversation today for me.
At a time, you know, I always save the toughest question for the end. You ready? I was reading this article in the New Yorker, and it was really a great read about a vegan bodega breakfast sandwich. How soon are we going to see those rolled out?
Listen, that sandwich was amazing. I was blown away. It's a dairy-free egg. It was really good, and trust me, I'm going to deliver one to the studio.
Please.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
I'm all for that.
We'll try it together.
I just have one quick question. I'm just wondering if you've hired your interior decorator for Gracie Mansion. You set for that.
I am so simple. You know, all I need is a mattress on the floor, and it's a wrap. It doesn't take much for me.
All right. Mayor-elect Eric Adams, appreciate you making the time for us before you get to D.C. Safe travels down there today, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Take care.
Take care.
Happy holidays.